But in terms of it being a concept that can be delivered, absolutely.
You know, one of the things that we keep talking about, we talk about how much of public funds go to private schools in bursaries. How much of public funds, that is members' contributions, go to private hospitals instead of going to improve our public hospitals. How much? Because if you just look at that example that Dr. George was giving, you know, somebody is going to a private health facility, NHIF pays 100,000 shillings. For the same procedure, same service, somebody going to a public health facility.
18,000.
It's 18,000.
Same service.
So who's the beneficiary here?
There's no equity.
So the private health sector is basically just gobbling up much of the money that's coming out of NHIF, instead of that going to the public sector and developing more and more health facilities in the public sector. And that's a big issue, because when you talk about that universal health coverage, it's about access and about affordability.
Absolutely.
How close is a health facility to you? How affordable is it going to be? For it to be close, it means that we have got to build.
And equipped.
We have to build and equip health facilities, so that we're not just, making a very big fuss about a lieutenant general who has come and within 1 year he has built 17 facilities in the country. And we're like, in the county of Nairobi. And we're like, how? Wow.
Have you gone to see them?
Can you imagine if it is possible to do 17 health facilities in a year?
What can you not do?
How many could we have done?
In 5 years.
In 5 years. And made sure that there's at least a health facility within every estate in Nairobi. You can just go, get primary health care.
And yet the story of those facilities is this. Healthcare facilities were there to meet the needs of the time.
Yes.
Some were simply let to rot away and get dilapidated.
Just not improved.
And even as time has changed, what
Yeah.
has happened in terms of improvements?
But by the
Time
way,
for us to get the news. It's now 8 a.m. Good morning.
statue.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Kenyans have urged politicians to stop talking too much about the hiked fuel prices and instead begin taking some action. They say that the hiked prices have affected the economy, making the prices of other basic commodities in the market to go up.
The State Energy Regulatory Authority nasema inagandamiza mwananchi, and the earlier it is disbanded the better for this country. So tunaomba wabunge ile if they care wawache kucry crocodile tears, wawache kusema kulia na wanajua what they are supposed to do.
Mnajifanya kwamba mnatetea tena wananchi ambao nyinyi wenyewe mmeumiza. Tunataka kusema kwamba kama mmekubali kama viongozi kwenda kutetea wananchi, mtetee wananchi ya ukweli.
Meanwhile, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muthui has also told MPs to stop public debates on fuel price hikes. He has urged them to instead find ways to lower the costs.
Nataka kuuliza wabunge, tafadhalini waacha kuzungumzia huku sasa kwa mikutano Jumanne pale kwa chemba. Tuache sasa, kwa sababu sasa wabunge hawezi kuja kuulia kama mwananchi pia analia.
This comes as MPs are set to discuss the hike in fuel prices when they return to Parliament tomorrow. Some churches yesterday appeared to preach water and drink wine after they failed to effect the ban on politicking on pulpits. This is even as some leaders were allowed to speak on the pulpit. Among the leaders given a chance, despite him saying that he supported the move to ban politics in church, was Deputy President William Ruto.
Maaskofu pamoja na wachungaji pia wajue ya kwamba mbali na sisi kuwa viongozi ama wanasiasa, sisi kwanza ni Wakristo. Mkisikia tukisema bottom up, tunasema mambo yaliyo katika Biblia, sababu kanisa la AIPCA haina wamishonari wa kutoka Marekani, haina wamishonari kutoka mahala popote. Kama kuna kanisa ya mahasla ni kanisa ya AIPCA.
Kirinyaga woman representative Wangui Ngirishi was, however, the first victim of that directive, as she was barred from addressing the faithfuls at St. Mary's Ngiriama. She urged church leaders not to be too hard on politicians, as some wanted to share their testimonies and not speak politics.
na kama mimi ni kiongozi wa Mothers Union, kwa hivyo tunasema tusiseme kabisa viongozi wasipatiwe chance ya kuongea katika kanisa. Kama mtu ako na ushuhuda anataka kutoa, akubaliwe. Kama yeye ni kiongozi katika kanisa ile, wacha pia yeye afanye nini? Akubalishwe. It is good that Ole Sapit pia again atuite wa Anglikana, alafu anaweza kutupatia ruhusa na atupatie ile viwango ya mtu anaweza kusema, kwa sababu nikisema nitasimama governor, nimekosea mtu, bora nisichape governor katika kanisa.
These were the words of a leader from the Anglican Church who spoke earlier last week.
Kwa hivyo kutokea siku ya leo tumepiga marufuku wanasiasa wowote kuongea hapa mbele ya madhabahu, kuongea maneno ya kugawanya wananchi, maneno ya kugawanya washirika wetu, maneno ya kupiganisha washirika wetu.
Kenyans affected by drought will benefit from the state cash transfer program. Each family will get a total of 5,500 from the Hunger Safety Net program, which received 1 billion shillings to mitigate the effects of drought between July and August this year. The figure of the beneficiaries translates to 23% of the total families that need the support. The National Drought Management Authority revealed that the situation in the country has been worsened by poverty levels, which currently stand at 70%. The Judicial Service Commission must first be allowed to hear accusations against a judge before they are arrested and mishandled. Chief Justice Martha Koome, while being interviewed by a local TV station, said this is meant to ensure that the integrity and independence of judiciary is upheld.
Create fear and despondency in the chambers by coming to raid the chambers. Because a judge is not running away. A judge is not a flight risk. You don't have to arrest them in a commando style with 20 vehicles, drive them to the police station, throw him in the cells just to humiliate them. When you raid the chamber of a judge, when they are writing a ruling and they are about to go to court to deliver, the image that comes out of that process is that you are interfering with the independence of the judge.
This comes after the arrest of judges Said Chitembo and Agrim Chelule, who are accused of receiving bribes from various cases they previously handled. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
And it continues this morning. Still some traffic on the Thika Superhighway. Actually quite heavy this morning. It's backed up, guys. Quite something. Way beyond. And it's connecting with traffic that's coming from Kariobangi North. And we see that road, Outer Ring, all the way from Mombasa Road, going through the Eastern Bypass, coming out on that other end, quite heavy this morning. So the Eastern Bypass you still can use, but then it gets heavy as you approach the Thika Superhighway. Not quite sure what's causing this traffic today, but it's also coming off of Kiambu Road as you get to the Muthui Square. Quite heavy there as well. And we're seeing traffic coming out of Gigiri, and then joining with that side, coming out at Muthaiga or coming out in Westlands. Limuru also joining with Peponi, coming out of Westlands, very heavy this morning. So that western side of the city, quite packed. The northern end of the city as well, packed. And in the central part of the city is another story. Mombasa Road also continues to spill off into the city, and we're seeing that ICT route is an option for you to use this morning, so please consider that. Industrial areas joining the foray and then joining with mad traffic on the other side as well. We'll see what it looks like in a short while, but it's Monday morning and it's to be expected. SpiceFM KE on Twitter, text on 40127. Let's try keep things moving.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the
7
Situation
minutes
Room,
after 8.
the
Good
only way
morning.
to start your
How
day.
are you doing? Wherever you're tuned in around the world, or let's start with the country, Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, Eldoret, Nyeri, Malindi, or any other part of the country where you are either tuning in on the SpiceFM or KTN Home, or those who are watching our live stream from around the world, SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. For example, Lusaka, Zambia is Vernon Wasema. Tuned in from Zimbabwe is Maureen Namuyemba. Tuned in from Uganda is Gordon Mugisha. From Zambia again, Hope Tayali. All of you, Lusaka, Zambia, Albatross Brinye. Everybody, we are glad that you are tuned in this morning. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. CT Muga has today's proverb.
Nami wakam jiru woli injir.
You know the way you read it, it's just like very spaced out words. Nami, Wakam, Jiru, Wali, Injir.
It's deliberate. It's very deliberate. You see, that way I don't run the risk of sounding like I know a language I actually don't. And so I simply mispronounce everything uniformly. But you get the gist of what I'm trying to do. This is the benefit of speaking a foreign language. Yes, I am allowed to make mistakes. Now, let me read it in a language where my mistakes are minimized, the English language. All who depend on God are all equal.
All who depend on God are all equal.
See? Makes an impact.
Yes.
You cannot misunderstand. You cannot misunderstand me.
This is a Borana proverb.
Yes. The staccato bit is my making. I am certain that those who speak the language will speak it with fluency.
Sure.
Yes.
They'll do it very fluently. Yes. And we'd actually encourage anyone who speaks fluent Borana, please, just call us, please, and pronounce this. Nami, Wakan, Jiru, Wali, Injir. Today's proverb. Page 5 of the Standard today. Tax review pushes up prices of basic items. This is basically a carryover of the conversations that have been happening since last week, or shall we say since the beginning of time. Let's just go with since last week.
Let's just go with the 14th of September.
The cost of living is set to make a meteoric rise as energy prices register a significant increase in recent months. Both electricity and fuel prices have registered major increases, which is expected to have ripple effects with transporters, manufacturers, and other businesses expected to further push up the cost of their products and services, including essentials. The Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, last week noted that electricity costs have nearly doubled in the last 10 years, which it attributed to mismanagement and poor governance at the country's power distributor, Kenya Power. This was a statement by the KEPSA. As a result of these failings, the cost of power has since grown by over 70% over the last decade, with severe impacts on the cost of doing business in Kenya, as well as placing a heavy burden on ordinary Kenyans' cost of living and working. Other than fuel costs that hit historical level last week, after the EPRA published the September-October prices, electricity costs are also appearing to be headed in the same direction. Consumers domestically will in September pay about 25 shillings per unit of electricity, up from 24.77 per unit last month. It's the highest since 2018. The power increases. Dixon Bogwe, the chairman of the Matatu Welfare Association, says public service vehicles operators will increase the cost of transport to pass the added cost of fuel to their vehicles to the passengers. If you take a vehicle that uses 50 litres of fuel per day, with diesel up by 8 bob, it means that you'll have to spend another 400 shillings per day just on fuel. Who's going to bear the cost? The consumer. We have been talking about this left, right, and centre, and including our members of parliament and our national leaders, starting with the deputy president, I don't know which is the deputy president, Raila or Ruto.
Wow.
So let's say William Ruto, Raila Odinga have issued statements about this high cost of living. One is the deputy president, one is the opposition leader. Fit them wherever you want to fit them. We have seen members of parliament talking about the same, speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate speaking about the same, and all of them are saying the same thing. In fact, one of those that's very vocal about this is the member for Dagoretti North, Mr. Simba Arati, who says, my constituents, most of whom use kerosene for cooking and boda boda for transport, have stories of gloom. Many have now opted to walk to work, and everyone is saying things are bad. So, in fact, what he's doing about this is that he wants to move a motion tomorrow, Tuesday, to suspend the implementation of the Finance Act 2018, the Tax Act 2018, the Tax Laws Amendment Act 2020, and the revised rates for excise duty that are pushing the prices of fuel. Mr. Simba Arati says consumers are heavily burdened, with each having to pay at least 9 different taxes on fuel products, which constitute the biggest share of pump prices. Simba Arati has been covered in The Nation, in the Standard page 5. Also, he's been covered on The Nation page 8 on this issue, where he's demanding suspension of the VAT Act in a bid to lower fuel prices. Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi has criticized the government for being insensitive to the economic hardships that Kenyans are going through, saying the decision by the EPRA to increase prices for petrol and kerosene is punitive to a population that's going through economic hardships. Public transport operators say, well, you know what, this is just coming to you. In the Senate, Speaker Kenneth Lusaka directed Energy Cabinet Secretary Charles Keter and his petroleum and mining counterpart John Munyes to appear before the House this week to explain the skyrocketing prices. Why? Because members of the Senate said, no, Mr. Speaker, this is untenable. We cannot continue like this, Mr. Speaker. Those people should come here and explain to us why the prices are going up. Mr. William Ruto, who is named here as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, yesterday said the fuel price increase will result in a general rise in the cost of living, and is urging the Ministry of Energy to work with relevant agencies and parliamentary committees to address this issue. Your leaders have spoken. They've heard you. They're not outside of this country. They're here. They can feel the pain of the cost of living.
Can they?
So they've said.
So they've said.
Yeah.
You know,
Simba Arati has spoken. Deputy President William Ruto has spoken. Musalia Mudavadi has spoken. Senators spoke last week vociferously.
You know, the common thread of this list of people that you've given and the things that they have done is what they have said. They have spoken.
Yep.
They have spoken. They spoke in terms of uproar. They spoke in terms of their dissatisfaction with the way in which things are currently going. They spoke. They spoke. They spoke. These are words that are being spilled here. The individual who came up with the saying, action speaks louder than words, seemed to know what they were saying. Because you can say whatever you want, but as soon as you've said it, unless it hurts somebody or helps somebody, it has disappeared, right? You would hope that then word would spur action. And I'm not even talking about going forward. I'm talking about historically here. What is it that would have been done or could have been done to cushion the effects of what we are currently seeing? What is it that could have been, put in place, established, regulated to make sure that this sudden uproar, if you ask me, the uproar is to hopefully be in sync or be in line with said people. But these are a majority of the population who are trodden upon over and over and over again. When there's uproar from the people is when you see uproar from the leaders, which in my opinion should be the opposite way. That the person who is supposed to be representing you before a legislature should be able to speak on your behalf. That it shouldn't have to be that Kenyans begin to cry and say the cost of bread has gone up, the cost of fuel has gone up, and so therefore all these other things will go up. For me, there's a lot of noise that's being made. But I think it's absolutely necessary for you to be able to look beyond the noise, to listen beyond the noise. And what becomes resoundingly clear is that it is when your people shout that you shout. And it should be the opposite. Historically, what has been done to cushion Kenyans from these things that they're currently going through? And you have to ask the question. And so, beyond this week, when people are going to make noise and then probably just kind of settle into the ebb and flow of things, will there be much more noise being made? And you have to ask that question.
Take your mind back to when COVID first hit our shores, and in this very studio we were comparing what other nations were doing. Of note was what the UK Parliament did. They had just passed their budget. They went back.
They rerouted their budget.
They did a complete U-turn on their budget and made took appropriate steps to ensure that their budget reflected whatever action they wanted to now take with COVID in mind. We saw at that particular time, and we spoke about it here, our budget, which was not very different in terms of not just the content, but the will as to what we're referring to now. At that point in time, we're saying, but wait, are these people aware there's COVID here? Should they not take this budget back and sort of like tell us how it is they want to reorganize our whole spending system so that we take care of COVID? Did you see a significant reduction in the cost of anything at that particular point in time? Did you see a significant increase in allocation of funds for the vulnerable, for the needy? What is this significant thing that you saw? Now, fast forward it to now. Something that you keep saying do has come true at long last. You may not see it clearly, but even as you're raising the point, what is clear is that we are representing ourselves. You see, if our leaders are coming and chiming after us, then isn't it evidence we don't need them? Because in all honesty, these matters could have been stopped before they actually got anywhere in those hallowed houses where we sent them to represent us. That wasn't done. So it arrives at us and we say, we are not having any of this. And they say, by the way, neither are we. We are like you also, we're not having. So we are leading our leaders.
That is the concept of representation.
Yes.
They basically have got to repeat what you're saying. That's how you know that they're representing you.
That they've heard you.
Yes.
And now that having heard you, they are now speaking your voice.
We are going to hear, we will have none of this. If they go to Parliament and say, our people will have none of this, that is representation, direct. Only thing here is, beyond representation, there are two other responsibilities that we've given them. One is oversight. The other one is legislation. Now, are they the ones that have come up with the legislation that has actually seen the taxes go up? Say yes. Are they also in charge of oversighting and making sure that the money that that they have approved for use, 30% of it does not go to waste? Do they have the oversight role of how much that money is being used?
Again,
Take. So they are doing very well in terms of representation, yes. In terms of ensuring that oversight is failing, yes. And in terms of ensuring that legislation that does not address your representation,
it's not established.
Give them whatever score you want to give them.
Well, it all depends on then where you're headed.
Yes.
If you're looking at success rates in failure, then you have to say they're actually doing very well. It really asks, in what direction are you trying to go? In which direction are you actually going? I think we need to see beyond this. And I said there's a lot of noise sometimes, but let the noise shift for a minute and then hear and listen to actually what is being said. Listen to what is actually being said here, or the overriding message through all of this, that in terms of what we ought to be doing as members who are supposed to represent you, those who are then supposed to oversight, and then those who are supposed to legislate on that. What exactly are they doing? Have an understanding of that. It cannot be that they chime in after you. It should be, and that's what I'm saying right now, that representation means that by the time somebody has been selected to represent you, that they understand your needs and then they understand what needs to be done. So that before the outcry comes from the people, in the place where they're supposed to be legislating, knowing that this could cause significant detriment or danger to the people, I am going to open my mouth and say, this ought to be done in a different way. This ought to be regulated in this manner. This ought to be provided for. Not waiting until the people are in an uproar and say, we cannot afford life anymore. So then what are you doing? What actually are you doing? It cannot be that the noise that you go to raise on the floor. It's not today that they're going to talk about it, or tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow they're going to talk about it. This is after
It'll just
a
be
week.
emotion, by the way. It'll just be emotion. Emotion.
And then that's it. It's just emotion. I've come by here to say that this actually is not fair, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. We're going to go back into the rhythm of it. And this noise that you're hearing, that's it. We're not going to hear it again. So it shows as if you're doing something. And then somebody can come and say, actually, you know what? I even went into parliament and I made noise about this. After the fact, my friend. It makes no difference. So at the critical moment when these things actually matter is when you should be asking, what is my representative doing at the point where it matters and where legislation can be established to make sure that there is a change? What is your member of parliament doing? Not the noise they made in a church somewhere on a podium somewhere in the middle of nowhere. No. That doesn't matter. At the critical point where something can be done, what is your representative doing that could earn them re-election or earn them notice later? If you're hard-pressed to find it, then
we have an issue.
we have a big problem.
Why don't we just open up this conversation, right? And say that all of us have a representative in the National Assembly and in the Senate. Let's send a message to our representatives in the National Assembly and in the Senate. Message to my MP. What message would you like to send to your member of parliament this morning? They'll be discussing this issue tomorrow. Senate has summoned the Energy CS Qatar and the one for petroleum to come before it. They've also summoned the EPRA bosses to come before them to explain why the cost of fuel has gone to such highs. The National Assembly tomorrow will be seeking to suspend some of these laws, including the VAT Act, to address this issue. What message would you like to send to your member of parliament this morning? Let's open up that phone line of 0719-012-600 and also on our social media, which is SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Abraham says, where were these MPs who are now pretending to be championing for the common mwananchi when these heinous bills were being tabled, debated, and passed in the House? Kenya tumecheswa. Very, very sad. Where were they? They're the same members of parliament who have actually overseen the taxation as it is today. All right? They're the same members of parliament who will allow for the kind of levies and taxes that you see per litre of diesel, petrol, kerosene at the pump.
Same ones who
which
allow.
is close to 50% of what you're paying at the pump is actually that. If we just said fuel has arrived at the port of Mombasa, it's at 60 bob as it arrives at the port of Mombasa. Transport it, give it to the people who have trucks, give it to somebody who has petrol station, give them their allowable margins. 72 shillings is the cost of fuel at the pump. You're buying it at 136. 58 bob is taxes and levies. Taxes and levies, your leader, member of parliament. What message would you like to pass to your member of parliament this morning? 0719-012-600. Let's take a few callers before we take a break. Good morning, Karanja.
Good morning, Eric Kidu and City.
Good morning, Karanja.
Yes. Now,
What's your message to your MP? Who is your MP?
my MP is Jen Kihara, the member of parliament for Naivasha.
Right.
And also the member for parliament for Girikiri, Mother Wangari.
Okay.
I know Mother Wangari is a good debater in parliament. What we want him to do in parliament today, concerning the issue of the fuel prices increase, I think he should bring a statement, comprehensive statement, given to the fact that now the price of fuel has become very high, and the commodities also they are increasing day by day. Now I would like him to do this. Who have this monopoly in Ibra? I don't know Ebra or Ibra.
EPRA.
Yes, Ebra. Who has this monopoly? Who are these people involved in this saga? Because there are somebody behind.
Okay, so that's what you want your MP to tell you.
Exactly, because what happens in the electricity issue, because of the issue of monopoly. Why don't we have we private this thing so that somebody can be involved in this saga rather than in cartels.
Okay. Thank you, Karanja. Let's hear from others. Mike in Kisumu, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Morning to you. Who's your MP and what's your message to them?
Say hi to Ndu and City Park.
Good morning.
Jambo sana, how are you?
I'm fine. Oh, my MP is Ouda. Ouda. And my message to him is he has failed miserably.
Is that Kisumu Central?
Yes, Kisumu Central.
Okay.
That's Fred Outa.
Yes.
No, not Outa.
And
Ouda.
Ouda.
Okay.
And he has failed in the mandate that we gave him to do.
Oh, we lost him. Let's go to Arab Muthui in Kitale. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm very fine.
Who is your MP? What's your message to your MP?
Honorable Joshua Kutony.
Charangani.
Yes. Now I have two issues.
All right.
One, let the MPs not speak like pedestrians. They should be in the House, handle the issues about the energy sector. Let them talk like the wananchi who have no space to speak. Two, let people not be creating problems so that they give solutions so as to look like they are representing people. When tomorrow they go back and actually talk about the issue, they will come back and say, we saved you from the high cost of energy. Yet, from the word go, they knew exactly what was supposed to be done. Three, we had last week the group of, is it called Nadome, the one representing the energy sector in Kenya Power. They complained about directors who are mismanaging the power sector. And yet we are actually seeing that the cost of electricity is going to go up. What is Parliament doing about the same? Yes.
Sawa.
Have a nice day.
Asante sana Arab Muthui. Kuria in Nyeri, good morning.
Morning, how are you guys?
Very well, thanks, Kuria.
Yeah, I'm calling from Kieni.
Kieni.
And my MP is Kanini Kek.
Right.
As I put this message to him, I hope he is aware that even if the Arab countries gave us free fuel at 0 shillings, we would still go at the petrol station and pay 58 shillings.
Yep.
So that one, he should very much be aware of that.
He is the chairman of the budget committee. If he doesn't know that, you should not even have him anywhere.
He should kindly be aware of that. Secondly, Eric,
yes,
please remind him, the taxation is not the surest way of getting money from the citizens. Empower them, then continue taxing them. And maybe Mwalimu should remind Kanini Kega of a proverb that he once says, you can always play with your mother's breast, but not the other person's whatever. You can complete that proverb.
Thank you very much, Kuria. Time for us to take a break at 8:30. Kenya's biggest conversation. What is your message to your member of parliament? Well, the National Assembly is set to have a discussion on a motion tomorrow that will be moved by the Dagoretti North MP Simba Arati to suspend some of these taxes so that, the cost of fuel does not rise that high. But where were they when the cost of fuel was rising, when the taxes were being introduced? What is your message to a member of parliament? That's a conversation we're having this morning. Time for a break. We'll be back shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is SpiceFM.
Losing a loved one is never easy. The lingering memories, the what-ifs. But in all the gloom, we find ways of celebrating them. And here at the Standard Tributes, we aim to give your loved ones that befitting send-off. Visit www.standardmedia.co.ke/tributes today and post your loved one's tribute. In addition, get access to funeral services from our trusted vendors.
All right. The clouds are up in Nairobi at 16, highs of 26 and lows of 13 today. Nakuru is cloudy at 17, highs of 26. 24 will be the high in Nyeri, where it's cloudy at 16. Eldoret is cloudy as well, going to highs of 22. It'll come down to lows of 12 today. Mombasa, some parts light rain, other parts cloudy conditions at 25, highs of 29 and lows of 23. It follows suit in Malindi at 27. We'll see highs of 29 and lows of 25. Our Kisumu is mostly cloudy at 21. 29 will be the high and lows of 18. Kakamega is cloudy at 22. We'll see highs of 29 and lows of 14. Let's look out into Kampala, where it's cloudy at 21, highs of 28 and lows of 19. And in Dar es Salaam this morning, sunny conditions at 25, highs of 30 and lows of 23. Lagos, clear conditions at 25, highs of 31 and lows of 25. Joburg is sunny at 14, it'll come down to lows of 9 and highs of 26. And we'll see sunny conditions in Kinshasa through today, highs of 32 and lows of 20.
No, this wheelbarrow, how can you give people wheelbarrow? His party symbol is an umbrella. Is he distributing umbrellas in Makueni?
My goodness gracious me. Hey?
You try and call them the same person who was in your house every day because they know you are influential and you will give them votes. Call them after 1 month and see if they'll pick up their phone.
Don't tell your member of parliament that you want him to come and build a school, you want him to come and do a hospital. That is not the work of the member. Now that we have devolution in this country, these resources should go to those devolved units.
You have to have strong, independent institutions. And I mean, you have to have police who has the right to take the biggest town in the country and question, why did you do this and that, and send them to court if necessary.
Social media was on fire.
Yes.
Every 5 or so minutes, some motorbike guy would come in, put his 20 bob play, take off again. So I decided, let me put my 20 bob also and see. And I put 20 bob. It came. This is a dusty little village, and I'm thinking, there's slot machines in this place.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's a mishmash of traffic wherever you choose to look at it in the city today. Let's look out west into Kisumu just briefly, and we see that quite some traffic this morning building up as you're getting into Kisumu city. Slow movement at the Boys Roundabout. No traffic police on site right now. Jomo Kenyatta Highway busy. Traffic experience towards Patel's Roundabout, but the opposite lane is clear. So think about that as you get in and out of the busy city. Speaking of which, back into Nairobi, the CBD jam-packed and it's leaking in from Landis Road, also Ngong Road, as well as Mombasa Road. And coming out of Westlands, everybody's meeting in the CBD today. We're looking at that jam-packed situation also on North Airport Road today. Still continues to be a thing, feeding onto the Thika Superhighway, coming off of Kiambu Road as well. And we see quite some traffic on Limuru Road, feeding in from Gigiri and then towards Westlands and other parts of the city. It's Monday morning. Everybody up from the weekend, in and out of the city. The Southern Bypass today not behaving too badly, but you're going to get stuck on Langata Road. So think about that and use the longer routes into the city. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. That's how you can get in touch just in case. Text on 40127.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
24 minutes to 9. Kenya's biggest conversation continues. What is your message to your MP? That's member of the National Assembly. Also, you can include the member of the Senate that represents your county. Alfred Kamata Mule is asking on social media, is this a TV channel or radio? Then which is which? We are everything, my friend, yes. Alfred. We are TV, we are radio. We are an audio-visual radio station, Spice FM. So you can catch us on Spice FM, you can catch us online, you can stream it, and also you can catch us on KTN Home because we are live on KTN Home. What's your message to your local member of parliament? Brian in Nairobi. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Who is your member of parliament?
My member of parliament is Nixon Kore from Langata.
Langata.
Yes. I think as a country now, we need to protest these things so that the executive will not be getting away with these atrocities. First thing that we need to do is to delink parliament from the control of political parties. Because you remember when these taxes were being passed, both sides of the political divide, government side and opposition side, they were in unison to pass this bill. And the reason that bring those things is because something called party discipline. That this is the party line, you have to toe the line. So we don't have MPs. They are the whims of their party leaders. So unless we delink them fast, they get protection, like the one for judges, that they can do their work independently without interference. We will continue to have these things, number one. Number two, government must stop this issue of looking for easier tax. You know, these taxes at source is the easiest form of taxes that government can collect, where the sellers give the government money from the product they're supposed to sell to people without considering what the effects of such scenarios. Because you find even the taxes in those fuel are taxed again. For example, when they calculate VAT, it's the 60 landing cost plus excise, then you calculate VAT from it. So there's also an element of double taxation in that fuel alone. You find again government building roads on PPP terms, and then they want to toll it again, despite the taxes that we've financed for fuel levy, road maintenance. They still take it from our taxes.
Brian,
yes.
What is your message to Nixon Korir?
They should go to Bunge. They suspend the implementation of the 8% VAT and the excise tax, number one. And they tell IMF to go away. You know, the fuel tax is a condition. It's a condition of IMF, by the way. It's a condition for, we have a distress in our foreign reserves. So they gave a condition for more taxation. So it's not as easy as people may think.
Okay.
Because we might pull down the taxes, then the forex go up.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Okay.
Joel in Kericho, good morning.
Salama sana Eric, habari asubuhi.
Salama kabisa. Mbunge wako ni nani?
Anaitwa Seriousness Maritim, hapa ni Ainamoi.
Seriousness Maritim, Ainamoi.
Yes.
Sasa
ile juma namwambia yeye nini? Amalize aende.
Oh wow, okay.
Asante sana.
That's it. No time for much talk.
John, formerly of Elbagon. Good morning.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Good
Very
morning.
well, thanks, John. So who's your MP?
Yes, now me, I'm like Muga. I have two MPs. That's why my umbilical cord was buried and where
Actually, I have three MPs.
John, your MP is the one you voted for. Who is the MP of the constituency where you voted?
Nixon Korir.
Langata. All right. What's your message to Nixon Korir?
My message is the same. They just need to do what they are supposed to do. Though last time, I think he did what he was supposed to do, because when that bill was being passed, he voted against it. Unfortunately, the saddest part of all this is that majority of the people who voted for it are the minority, which is supposed to be the other way around.
Majority of the people who voted for it are the minority.
Yes, they're the minority in the parliament. The so-called opposition are the ones who voted for this bill. You know, it is very unfortunate indeed. And the other person maybe you need to call out is Bwana Atuli. I think the labor movement has also really let us down. This is when we are supposed to be hearing them. This is when they're supposed to be speaking out on behalf of workers. But they are so quiet, you know. They are not saying anything. So even as we talk about MPs, even our labor movement has just let us down.
Okay.
Kabisa. Yes, sir.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Ed in Nyeri, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Fine, thank you, Ed.
Actually, I'm in Meru currently. I'm watching you live. Now, here's the thing, guys.
Who's your MP, Ed?
My MP is Ngujiri Wambugu.
Nyeri Town.
Nyeri. And I wish he will put the same vitality and vigor that he has in politics. I wish that you're going to do the same, Ngojiro Wambogo, when it comes to reducing current fuel prices and everything that is going on that is stressing us. Also, to go to Ephraim Minor.
Your senator.
My senator. My senator, kindly. I know you're part of the... He's in a committee that deals with these things, right?
Energy.
Energy, yes. And personally, Bwana Ephraim Minor, Mheshimiwa, you also have interest in the transportation industry and also in the roads. So you know the cost, the do's and don'ts, and you know how much it will cost for us to survive as Kenyans and to survive with the current fuel prices. You know how low it will go for us and how we would manage, because you've been there. Please. Also, please want to go. I'm going broad spectrum, Eric, if you don't mind. Even the Committee of Transport in Parliament. And then, this is a call for most of the MPs, if not all. Reduce your cost of living and your salaries. And I'm going to tell you why, Eric. If they reduce a little bit of what they take home and they take it back to the budget, to the national government, to the treasury, and then the treasury themselves, they be courteous enough to extend that to us.
Okay.
The cost of living is going to go down. Because currently, Eric, like right now, I told you last week, 4 days I didn't go to work, right?
Yep. Cost is high. Ed, good message. Let's hear from others as well. Thank you very much. Isaac in Athi River, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Isaac, please switch off your radio, then we can have a conversation.
Morning to you.
Morning, Isaac. So what's your constituency, Isaac, and who's your MP?
I'm in Mavoko. Yeah, my MP is Patrick Macau.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm very much concerned about the fuel, especially because I'm in the taxi services.
All right.
And it is affecting us in a great way. And in the same problem, the MP, I just call upon them. They should check the taxi guys, because there are these companies, the Uber, the Bolt, whatever. They are giving up the price, and what the driver is taking home is very little. And they are just the middleman. Let me call them the middleman. Because they don't have a car, they just have the platform.
Yep.
And they don't even think about the fuel, they don't think about the service of the car, they don't think even about the credit that the guy is using. Secondly, and the last, all the MPs, they should realize that they are servants to us. But they are not, they try to think that they have the power. But the power they have, they should know that it's to serve us, but not to think about themselves.
Message is home. Thank you very much, Isaac.
Okay.
Vicky in Mombasa, good morning.
Morning to you, Eric.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Who's your MP? What's your constituency and who's your MP?
My MP is Abdul Samad Mvita.
All right.
Yes.
Your message to him?
My message to him is they should stop being hypocritical to Kenyans. Remember when the handshake happened, there was this call from the opposition to support the government, and that the government needed some cash flow to offer services. And the same MPs are the same people who passed this bill. Because these bills don't just come out of nowhere to Treasury for implementation.
Yep.
They have to go to the floor of the House, and they're the very, very people who passed the bills and said they be suspended. I think they were talking of it being suspended for about a year. So when this thing is now coming to bite, and they're feeling the elections are just around the corner, everybody now is up and down, trying to cry for us if they were not even there in the house. When the bill was being passed, where were they? And the other aspect of the fuel costs in Kenya, when we look at it from my position as a professional, let's look at what is the landing cost of fuel and what are the other additional costs. Like now today, the refinery is not working. The additional cost that we incur that pushes also the pump prices are the demurrages that we pay in terms of millions of shillings.
Yep.
Talk to anybody in the fuel industry, they say we pay millions monthly as demurrage.
Yep.
There are also the issues of lack of haulage. There's a storage space. So vessels will come, pump a little fuel because there's lack of storage space. They'll wait for the offtake. And then this industry is full of cartels. That's the reality. And unfortunately, names can't be mentioned because of political alignments and also the who's who in this country. Those are things that I believe I can hear Andrew Walker saying, because maybe she has an idea what it is. Yeah, that's the reality. so if we are talking of fuel prices being at about 7 shillings in Uganda, meaning at our place, apart from even if we forget about the taxes and just ensure efficiency, we can still have even with the current taxes, we can still have the prices at about slightly below 100 shillings.
Yep. Thank you, Vicky.
Now,
message to Abdul Samada. Sharif Nasir has gotten home. Thank you very much. James in Kilgoris.
Yes, hello, Spice.
Good morning.
Good morning, too.
Who is your MP? What's your constituency and who's the MP?
I'm from Kilgoris constituency. Though right now I'm in Nairobi. And my MP is Gideon Konchela.
Right.
He was the leader in the list of shame.
Which one? Which list?
The list of shame for the MPs who never uttered a single word in the parliament.
When you say he is the leader, is he the one who put the list together, or he was leading the pack from the front?
Yeah, he led from the front. So the only message you can tell him is that you just finish and pack and go. I understand right now he's building a retirement home in Tanzania. And I last seeing him that day he was campaigning up to now.
You haven't engaged with him at all?
I've never. So it's like I don't have an MP. Though the whole leadership of Narok counties has come. So I don't know. He has been an MP for the last 15 years. I think, 15 years. But
he's an experienced MP. So the message is to Gideon Konchela, Kilgoris MP, and I assume also the senator for Narok.
Yeah, no, senator is one of the best.
So what?
Why do you say that?
The MP, you just pack and go.
You just said the leadership of Narok is a sham.
No, okay, from the governor with an exclusion of the Senate. I think he's doing something.
Why do you single out the senator?
We've lost him. Newton in Meru, good morning.
Yes. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Fine,
Newton.
thank you.
My MP is Rahim Dawood from Nodimenti. I'm telling them to stop joking in that parliament. They should be more serious in considering the issues of the Mwananchi.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all my message.
Thank you, Newton.
Yeah.
Calvin in Nairobi, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thanks. What's your constituency? Who's the MP?
Babowino. Now, the issue we're having in Kenya, I believe it all starts from the presidency, and then we come to the MPs. Because the MPs raise the debt ceiling, giving the president the avenue of borrowing, And when it comes now to repayment, they have to do everything possible to raise taxes on all those for them to repay back, because you don't expect the or the government to be able to pay the debts minus raising the taxes. Now the MPs, when they were like passing the financial the rates, the tax for fuel and all that, they unanimously did that without knowing it will come to affect the common mwananchi. Now, the MPs should come out clean and tell us the government is pushing us to do all this or what is happening. Because hapa ni kuchezewa tu.
Nasikia unaenjoyiwa.
Tunaenjoyiwa kabisa.
Thank you, Kelvin. James in Nakuru. Hello.
How are you?
Very well, thanks, James.
My MP is TM, Gikaria. Nakuru East.
Yep.
I think he's already achieved what he wanted. Marrying marrying the seventh wife. So I think he's achieved his objective.
Is that why you voted for him?
You wanted to facilitate the marriage of his seventh wife?
No, he's already married the seventh. We voted him. It looks like to continue marrying every single year.
So what is your message to him today?
I think he's achieved his goal. Let him just pass. Okay. I know he's trying very much on UDA, but let's watch the space.
Okay, James.
But he's already has. Of course, other two wives have run away because they can't match the competition. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, James. Message to your member of parliament. This is the message to my MP. You're hearing all of them are basically saying few would talk and say that they feel that the MP has done the best that they could.
Maybe we need to ask, are there people who actually feel that the MP has done something,
you know?
that is worth mentioning, something
The message is, you've done well. However,
you could improve on this and this, but by and large, you've done a good job.
Abraham is saying MP is Mishimbogo and finish and go home in capital letters. We suffer this a lot, by the way, as a country. Every time we near an election, the message to the MP is pack and go. So we vote out members of parliament. We don't vote in members of parliament.
True.
We get into an election to vote people out,
so essentially,
to send people home.
So essentially, anybody but you.
Yes.
And so you don't really interrogate, you don't really examine this anybody.
This anybody is not, it doesn't matter.
Whether they are actually better than this person or perhaps they're even worse than the person you're getting rid of.
Yep. And that's something that we as the people have to take into consideration. Read what Kenyo Mureithi Jr. is saying. To Wanjiku, this is the time for everyone, because this isn't a war for one. This is everything. It impacts every aspect of our lives, our health, our economy, our jobs, how we live, how we can move around, how we are going to do everything that we need to do. So this is a time. Be careful who you support and who you vote for in the next election. Be careful. That's a message that he says. But he also has a message to his MP, Masiga Kuya. You ought to understand your people's needs and wants. The main reason you're in parliament is to protect Wanjiku from harsh policies and realities, and we wish to demand quality representation.
Do you know, when you're talking about representation, we should actually address ourselves as voters. The one thing that this country actually affords you, and the freedoms that we won or were won on our behalf or were fought for, is that freedom to vote. You know, it's actually something, that vote is something precious that you have, and it actually has value. If you look at the activities of those who want it, it tells you it has value. But do we value our vote as much as those who seek it?
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like the one person who values the vote is the one who wants it.
Yes, but
the one who holds the vote
doesn't realize how important it is in order to get things moving and done.
Yes.
Let's continue this conversation on Spice FM. We continue to Spice FM if you're watching us on KTN Home, because we'd like to say goodbye to you. Join us again tomorrow morning on KTN Home. The conversation continues up to 10 a.m. on Spice. 94.4 if you're in Nairobi, Mombasa 87.9, 102.5 in Kisumu, 96.0 if you're in Nakuru, Eldoret 96.7, Nyeri 90.9, and Malindi is 97.7.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
There's so many people peddling what is false and that it bears remarkable resemblance to what is true.
Politicians have their agenda, and their agenda is to use every opportunity to sell that agenda and to loot this nation.
I have seen major strides that are done in this country when we talk to each other as against talking at each other.
We start getting back into the tribal cocoons which were put to us by the colonial powers. You know, they gave us physical freedom but not mental freedom. We're still mentally colonized today into these cocoons of tribe.
Now, if you live in an area where it's difficult to find a dog,
He's a goat. I kid you not.
In which part of this country is it difficult to find a dog? So that you resort. Nafandi umbo yako iko na pembe.
Hii ni umba special.
Yep, 1.5 minutes to
This is the Situation.
Continues. So Maina says, is it Samaina? Who is it who is Googling? I saw a message, someone there saying they were Googling the price of fuel. It's Patrick. The price of fuel in neighboring landlocked countries. And it says, it finds that the fuel in Mombasa is more expensive than fuel in Uganda. When I talk about landed, it lands in Mombasa. It's more expensive, 1,200 or so kilometers away than it is there. Of course, if 58 bob is going to tax, what do you expect?
Does it actually occur to the leadership who make these decisions that if these taxes actually went towards making our lives better, no one would be pitching a fit? We would see.
If you'd see the value for the tax, and
you would say the discussion wouldn't be why are we continuously being taxed.
Yeah.
But you're being taxed on the one hand. The services that you're supposed to get, you do not get. Roads that are being built are a constant pain. Everything that's supposed to make your life better isn't making your life better.
And then that same leader is telling you, by the way, 30% of your tax is stolen.
No.
And they don't tell you by who.
Yes. So
they just tell it's stolen.
It's stolen.
And these are the
they
people
know it's stolen. They know it's stolen. They're just informing you by the way.
By the way,
stolen.
By the time they even know the amount.
Yeah, surely. Good morning. Conversation continues. It's now 9 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Lea Ubaga. The High Court will this morning issue a ruling to determine whether or not for administration police officers and a civilian accused of murdering lawyer Willie Kimani, his client Josephat Mwenda and taxi driver Joseph Mwiduri in 2016 will be out on their defense. Lady Justice Jessie Lasit is expected to determine whether the four have a case to answer. Prosecution believes the five abducted Willie, Josephat and Joseph on June 2016 after the trio left Mavoko Law Courts, where they had attended a case hearing involving one of the accused. One man has died and 10 others have been arrested after they tried to set free their colleagues who were found ferrying 400 bags of uncustomed sugar. The lorry, which had been detained at Chwele police station, was being escorted to Kisumu under tight security by DCI detectives and CIPU officers when it came under attack from the suspects. DCI boss George Kinoti says in the ensuing incident, one officer was attacked and injured by the gang, leaving him with injuries on his chest and limbs. Kinoti says a contingent of police officers from from Kakamega who are headed to Chwele reinforced the officers, restoring sanity and helping in the arrest of the suspects. 3 vehicles used by the suspects and a motorcycle were impounded as others fled, with some of their colleagues currently held at Kakamega Police Station. Also recovered were crude weapons that were in possession of the gang. The Council of Bishops' announcement that it's ready to reconcile President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto has been hailed as one that will promote unity, peace and national harmony in preparation towards next year's general elections. Michael Serenui, a co-founder of Leadership and Peace in the Kalenjin community in Trans Nzoia County, has said it would be wise for President Kenyatta and Ruto to bury their differences, otherwise they would be both held accountable if the country was to face another year of electoral violence.
Maaskofu are very right because they are trying to bring reconciliation of the two and of all Kenyans. Once Ruto and President Kenyatta are disagreeing, anything can happen in this country. It can happen within 20 minutes and then it can take even 30, 40 years. So I'm calling upon everybody to be sober. If possible, two cannot agree. They should be taken even to Hague, both of them. Because we don't want people to die, many of them, while the two are not agreeing.
This is even as Ruto said he was ready to reconcile with President Uhuru Kenyatta sometime last week.
Mimi niko tayari. Hawa maaskofu wamesema wanataka kuniweka pamoja na rais. Mimi niko asubuhi na mapema bila condition. Kwa sababu mimi namheshimu rais. Yeye ni mdosi wangu. Kuna watu tu wakora wamekuja hapo wakaweka fitina mingi mpaka wakasemekana huyu deputy president weke kando sijui nini, lakini mimi niko ready without condition any moment, kwa sababu tulichaguliwa pamoja na Wakenya na walitupatia majukumu ya kuendesha serikali hii ya Kenya mbele kwa muda ambayo tumepatiwa. Wale wengine ambao wameleta fitina wangoje tuende kwa uchaguzi.
Nairobi County Assembly Minority Whip Peter Imatok plans to table a motion in Parliament that will see Mbagathi Road renamed to Raila Odinga Road. Imatok, who is also the Makongeni Ward representative, said the move would go a long way in recognizing and honoring the former Prime Minister's contribution to the nation, including the fight for good governance, infrastructure and democracy among Kenyans. Matungulu MP Stephen Muller has called on county governments across the country to continue providing quality services to its people without wasting time or focusing on politics. Addressing reporters in his constituency, Muller urged senators to ensure that county governments in their region serve the people properly, while urging them to crack the whip on corrupt individuals.
We want to urge the county governments all over the country. They must give Kenya value for devolution. We have realized that most of the governors, because they are on their last term, they are not giving Kenyans their value for devolution. Senators, you need to be very firm with the county government to make sure that every penny and coin goes to the county government. It's being accounted for and it goes to the benefit of Mwananchi.
More than 300 Haitians were returned home on Sunday after the United States ejected them from Texas, leaving many of the would-be migrants demoralized and angry that their search for a better life far away from their impoverished country was over. U.S. border agents began removing groups of mostly Haitian migrants over the weekend from a large makeshift camp they had set up after wading across the Rio Grande, separating Mexico and the U.S. state of Texas. And in sports, Kenya booked a ticket to the FIVB World Championship after reaching the final of the 2021 Volleyball Women's African Nations Championship in Kigali, Rwanda. The Malkia Strikers, however, lost the final to rivals Cameroon. Cameroon were once more crowned 2021 African Nations champions following the comprehensive victory over Kenya's 3-1 in the final encounter held at Kigali Arena in Rwanda on Sunday. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, on Mombasa Road, not too painful this morning, though that one stretch that always continues to be a thumping headache continues right between just before you get to the SGR and then further ahead going towards Cabanas. But it's opening up a little bit, so it doesn't look too crazy right now. Industrial area also the same. We're seeing that spill over onto the Likoni interchange or Mombasa Road something, but the southern bypass is looking pretty good. Now, guys, that issue on Thika Road, a lot better now. So that traffic that was coming along from the Kariobangi North area that has been sorted out, and we're looking at survey now, where the major bone of contention is on Mombasa, on the Thika Superhighway. Coming out of Western still is a thing. Into the city centre, quite jam-packed, continues to be an issue as well. So let's watch out for that. We'll be out of traffic hour shortly, but for now, we're still there. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning to you if you're just joining us, and thank you very much for keeping it locked if you've been with us since 6 a.m. or whatever time you joined in. Kenya's biggest conversation gets into the final hour, and C.T. Muga has a proverb from the Borana.
Indeed I do.
Okay.
All who depend on God are all equal.
All who depend on God are all equal.
Yes. But I think some of them don't realize that we are all equal. Yes. When someone continuously talks to you as though it is mandated for you to believe everything they tell you, even when they're lying through their teeth.
Yeah.
They don't think very
You have a
highly.
duty and responsibility to believe them.
Yes, and to listen and to believe. And just in case that sentence does not seem to be complete, you don't really question. And if you must, don't question too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even if the same thing is repeated and the previous promise had not been made, it is still your duty.
And if you say that there's a problem, they'll remind you. But I'm a reflection of you.
Yes.
I'm not different from you.
You elected me. So, and you're thinking, wait, yeah, I get the point, but how does that relate to you're not doing what you're supposed to do?
I'm a reflection of you.
Am I supposed to do these things for myself?
If you call me a failure, just know that you're basically calling yourself a failure, all right?
And actually, they say it with great deal of eloquence. There's truth to it, though. There is truth to it, though. And it boils down to something we were saying early on before the hour with relation to whether we, the voter, really value our vote. Because it's a really dear commodity. It's a commodity that changes everything. Because that vote, when expended, gives you a leader. That person is the one who makes these decisions that are now bringing about the problems we are talking and complaining about.
Yeah.
So, in that respect, the person is not wrong.
It started with you.
Yes. But then, when we talk about the role of the leader, oversight, I think we also need to mention to our fellow voters that you also have that role of oversight over your leader. You don't vote that person in and then just allow them to just do what they want throughout the time that they're in parliament. No, you don't. They have to be held accountable.
You've got to constantly feel the heat.
They have to. They have to know.
Yeah.
And they feel the heat and they respond. If they're responding to these fuel increases, which they participated in bringing about, willfully, knowingly, and now they are with us, showing angst, pitching a fit, complaining like us. It tells you that they do know when it is they ought to identify with us, but we don't want this sort of identification.
No.
The identification we want is when our lives actually become better by decisions and policies that are made.
0719-012-600. Let's hear from you. Moha, good morning.
Yeah, morning.
How are you doing? How have you been?
I'm good, Eric. You guys know me. I tweeted something in the morning, and maybe that's why we're even having this discussion.
This is it. This is you who are saying the hashtag MP you got mail.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now, my MP is Arati, Simba Arati, from the ODM side.
Yep.
Now, this is the guy I voted in. Now, every time you question him about the things, basically oversight, you get the sense that the views of the party leader come first, and mine as a voter comes second. So to them, it's Raila's opinion first, what Raila wants, then mine comes after. Or sometimes it doesn't even appear anywhere.
Yours is inconsequential.
Exactly.
All right.
Now, that is the MP I voted. Now, there are two other MPs from places I consider home, other constituencies. And unfortunately, all of them come from ODM. Vita constituency and this other one, Kwale. Zuleha and Abdul Samad. Zuleha went as far as telling me that, actually proving it by, it was a tweet where she says, the views of the party leader come first. I think that's how it's in them.
It's
they
a hierarchy.
believe it.
There's a hierarchy.
Yeah. Because at that time I was asking her, we're in a pandemic. Nobody has tabled a COVID relief bill or a COVID healthcare bill. Do they? What do they expect when one of their voters gets COVID and cannot foot the medical bill? What are they supposed to do? I never got a response that is worth even talking about, because to them, whatever they table in parliament,
said.
Yeah, the party leader hasn't given them the marching orders, so they have to wait for it.
Can I ask a question more?
Please.
Is it possible that, yes, it is true that the party leader's views hold sway on their decisions, but is it also possible that that is the excuse that they all use? Someone is doing what they want to do and they say, you know the party position. You know the party position. You know party leader.
And that's why my message to most of them, in fact, the one I might be voting for, in the constitution I'm going to vote for again, Simba Arati, is because now they've proven, they want to prove to me that the party leader's position or views come first. Then this time round, they better rush and go bend a knee to Ruto, because that's the person I'm going to vote in. I'm not going to vote in their party leader as the president.
So you'll vote for Simba, but you'll vote for Ruto?
No, I'm voting him out.
Oh.
Okay.
So as he exits, let him know the president is going to have to bend a knee to is Ruto. Let them know that.
But then how
I'm a supporter of ODM. I'm a supporter of ODM, but I'm going to vote for Ruto, knowing very well that is not a choice I like. But to the point at which I am right now, I'm basically pissed.
So
because I can't vote you in, then you ignore me.
So you're just raising a finger at ODM by choosing somebody else.
Exactly.
Okay.
Knowing very well that is the wrong thing to do.
But you'd rather that than stay in a position which you currently are in.
Exactly. You can't ignore me. I'm the one who gets... you're not the masters.
Even though the decision that you're making doesn't guarantee that there will be some kind of change.
But why should I still keep them around? They've just proven that my views are inconsequential.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Wow.
What Mo is telling you is that his vote goes with his views. And if you don't take his views seriously, then don't expect to get his vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Moha. Lovely day. 0719-012-600. I wonder why we're pretending as if we don't know what's happening. The executive has coerced Parliament to do what they want. And if you appear to go against the stream, you know the consequences.
I actually don't buy that myself. You know this state capture story? It's been said for so long.
You don't believe that the MPs are, to some degree, powerless?
No, I actually don't. I don't. I believe the MPs are doing exactly what they want to do. And this story of state capture runs really beautifully with that whole narrative. So it is the helpless.
You can blame somebody
the
else.
helpless narrative the helplessness narrative that you're now mentioning. Now that comes to fulfill that mandate completely. But there's nothing we can do about it. What do you mean?
Calls come from other quarters, from Harambee House.
Yes, and you can't say no. Really?
Yeah, you can't say no, City. Files will be opened.
So then, I mean,
that's the point I am trying to make. Okay? It is not that there is nothing they can do. It is because they themselves have been involved in all manner of nefarious things. They are the ones who actually sold that birthright that they had. It is not all that the executive is doing is taking advantage of a situation that has been presented to them.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all they're doing.
They allowed themselves to be controlled.
But of course they did.
John in Nyandarua.
Yes, good morning. How are you guys?
Good morning.
Very well.
Yes, how are you doing?
Good.
Okay. Yes, Nyandarua is fine, and you have a very interesting debate regarding our members of parliament as far as the finance bill is concerned. But let me say that whatever has happened regarding the fuel, I'm congratulating myself because what the MP did is what I sent him to.
Who's your MP?
He is there because of the mistake that I did when electing him. And Kenyans should congratulate themselves for whatever they are suffering from, because it is them, they Kenyans, who voted for those people mistakenly. Those people are not qualified to be our leaders. They were elected because they were associating themselves with a political party and with a particular leader. They had no interests of the people at heart. And that is why, even if we look now at the counties, the governors are proposing to get a hefty retirement payment of about 900,000 shillings every month when they are voted out.
For the rest of their lives.
For the rest of their life. And they were voted there by Kenyans. Why should we complain? Let us pay for the high fuel prices without complaining until the day we realize what is the value of our votes. What kind of a leader do we need?
John, I like your view.
Let us congratulate ourselves.
John, I like your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Good day.
If you're looking for something to be happy about, look for the
Be
fact
happy.
that
Be
they're
happy.
in that position because
Because-
you put them there. Anything after that is not what we're discussing.
Congratulate yourself.
That you have been able to bring problems upon yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
You've done so well.
Yes.
In fact, here is living proof.
In fact, you've surpassed your own expectations, haven't you?
Here is living proof. Zachary.
You cut me off.
Who? But you're on air, Zachary.
Oh, okay. Oh, hi, everyone there.
Everyone here
We
is
are
well.
fine, Zachary, and we are on L with you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, guys. Now, I echo Mr. Jones from Yandaro, that guy who has just spoken. That every action has a reaction. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember being taught that in my basic physics. Yeah. And we also were told that choices have consequences. Yeah.
Yep.
But let me take my MP is Mr. Mr. Moses Kuria. Let me tell him that we have come to know that it was problems that made him to appear like he is ours. Yeah. In Kikuyu we say, can I say it?
Yes, by all means.
All
right, now translate it, please.
Okay, that is exactly what I mean. It is the problem that you are facing at the time that you are approaching us that made you act as if you are one of us. But now we have come to realize, but by the way, we have got a Kikuyu that says, a proverb, vegane aruire, kana vegane arua mararaja gotire, okay? It is exactly defines or tries to talk about people who are who are seem to be together, but because one of them has gotten what he wanted, now okay, he says he can call it quits. Yeah. Let me say this. I urge all the MPs to go and say that the Kenyans are not paying. They are not complaining about petrol. We should make it to 170 because this parliament has got one duty to do. Yeah. To teach Kenyans the Kenyan vote at the value of their vote. Okay. That's what you are saying. And that is it's our money which is little. Let the MPs go there and tell whoever calls the shots. Yeah.
Make it
from
200.
wherever. Yeah? Make it 200. These guys have got money and they you know.
Well, they'll find a way somehow.
Yeah.
Zachary, thank you.
Thank you. That last day.
You too. Abraham in Nairobi.
Good morning, Ndu City. Eric.
Good
morning, Abraham.
Now, did you know that Kenya is the greenest nation on the planet?
Greenest?
Greenest. We derive most of our energy from renewable sources.
Oh,
Geothermal,
if that's what you mean, okay.
Wind. Yes, that's what I mean.
And how is this arrived at? How do we become the greenest? What have we done?
Our mix.
We are most of the nations on the planet do not rely on what's it called? Non-renewable sources.
They use fossil fuels
of their electricity. They mostly rely on fossils and
nuclear.
Some of the Europeans rely on nuclear, not that healthy anymore. So for the longest time, we've actually been the greenest nation. I came to know this a week ago via BBC documentary. So the thinking is they actually made the mistake of assuming that we have very cheap electricity. Because that was one of the benefits that they were saying.
We are so green, power is almost free.
Yeah. Power is almost free. It comes from God.
And it's renewable.
And it's renewable.
Right.
From geothermal, from hydro, from the other
solar,
large solar farm in Turkana.
Wind.
And wind farm over there.
Yep.
So these are the things. You wonder, God has given us free electricity.
So do I understand you be saying, since we are paying for free electricity, why should we then not pay for fuel which we know is not free?
Exactly.
Okay.
Good perspective, yeah, Abraham. Abraham, who's your MP?
He does not deserve any mention.
Hey.
Wow.
Let him be forgotten.
Hey.
That is how wicked he is.
Bas. What's your constituency?
Yeah. Embakasi.
Which one?
He does not deserve any mention.
Doesn't deserve mention even mention.
He's gone as far as he's going to go.
Embakasi,
full stop.
That's it. One of the Embakasis. Choose one.
Yes.
Go east, west, or north.
Either one. Not mentioned.
Thank you, Abraham.
Sure.
Asante sana. It's the power of the vote again. Comes to that. That's what Zachary and John have in fact said. It's the same thing that Abraham is saying.
You have the power. You've done something with your power. Now, the outcome. You know, when we talk about accountability and holding people accountable, I think, even as I say it, there's the underlying assumption that people know exactly how to hold the leaders accountable. Whenever people want something done, like they want a harambe for a church, they know how to approach a leader.
Yep.
It's that same method that you use for holding them accountable. The same method of getting in touch is the same method you use for sending the message that you want and say, we're not happy with this.
We're not happy with this. You've got to change this.
You've got to change this and this and this. Same method. And when they come for the vote, because they will and they must, that is also an opportunity for you to tell them, you know something, you and everybody else who's vying for this thing, unfortunately, we are not going to simply vote for you because of what you've said. You need to remember, we mentioned this sometimes earlier in the year and even the year before. We said, you know something, you are going to come to us, okay? And you are going to tell us this thing that you say you want to do. Please write it down for us, okay? And tell us how it is you plan to achieve it, okay?
And the milestones.
This is a social
By year
contract.
one.
Yes, milestone. This one by this year, and in this area this, and also tell us what the sub county or the counties or the wards that you represent. Tell us what they have told you their key problems are, and tell us how you plan to address them with the timeline. Just come. Yes, please go ahead and do.
Does it occur to you that I believe it was Moha who said that, you know what, I'm voting out somebody to send a message. I'm voting in somebody to send a message.
Yep.
So hopefully the message, if I'm communicating to you by either voting you out or voting somebody else in, because we understand also that I may not be voting in somebody because I necessarily think they can do a good job, because I like them, whatever. I'm trying to tell you something, that I'd rather this person out, right? What I'm trying to say is that I want this person out, not necessarily that I want you in. Do you think that this message reaches the intended recipient?
Yes, it does.
That they get it, that, all right, number one, either I didn't achieve, not even surpass, I didn't achieve what it is that I was voted in to do, and that, does it then also reach the person then that is being voted in?
No.
Exactly.
The only message that goes is to the person who's been voted out.
Exactly.
Let's go to the phone lines and then we can come back. Yeah, because Jackie has been on hold for about 3 minutes.
Okay.
Let's hear from her. Jackie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jackie.
This conversation is showing how emotionally we vote. How our politics is all based on emotion, and these people know exactly how we think, how we've always thought. In other countries, you'll find the citizens actually know the power they have, and they use it. Here in Kenya, we even in scandals, we talk about something, the next day another story comes, it's forgotten. So the politicians take advantage. And like this thing with the fuel prices, they are the same ones who did it. And, you know, it also, sometimes I think the technocrats in government, are they really intelligent? Is taxing the only way you can raise funds? You know, it's like, it's a measure of their intelligence. You know, either that or they don't care. And if you follow all of them, you'll find they are building skyscrapers all over the place, all these apartments everywhere. They're owned by politicians. So when we as Kenyans come and say, I'll vote you out, the guy is going to be comfortable with his amassed wealth.
He's gotten what he needs already.
He'll wait 5 years and come back to you.
Yeah, and you'll be like, you know, you will have people saying, I'd rather die, and you still come and vote them back.
Yeah.
So you know, it's like, I don't know what mentality we have as Kenyans, whether we are still so colonized that we are not worth it, and you know, we think that these people can walk all over us, and we even give them the carpet to walk on us. So for me, voting in somebody because he's the enemy of the other one is a bit.
It's kind of. You know what, Jackie? Moha, who has that kind of who actually brought that up? He's back on the line. Moha.
Yeah.
You're here.
Okay.
Yeah. You are going to vote out
Jackie,
somebody, vote in somebody to send a message to the person you're voting out.
Okay, what is Jackie's advice? What should I do? Let him keep his seat?
You know, it's like in a relationship. If you're going out with this girl and she mistreats you, then you go and date her girlfriend just to spite her, or her sister just to spite her. This other one you've brought in will treat you even worse because they know where you've come from. So that's not a solution. The solution is for Kenyans to realize we are the employer. If these people have stolen from us, and we know it. We can see everybody lives in some neighborhood. The minute you vote them out, can we use the legal system to go after that property? Because we know where they started from and where they ended is not the same.
When it comes down to voting, let's be practical with Moha here, because he's in a dilemma, all right? He voted in he voted in one member of parliament. He supported the election of two other members.
He supports a party very strongly.
Because of their party. These three leaders have gone to the House, and he feels that he's been let down by them because they claim that their party has not given direction. So he's saying he is going to vote for the current incumbent who wants to vie next year, who is the cause of his problems today. But that aside, he is going to vote for William Ruto so that he can show his spite to ODM. What would you advise him to do? Who then should he consider?
Why would you? Ruto is not the only person who's vying for presidency. Why him? Why him? Why can't you even vote for an individual? You know, these parties also are the cause of all our problems. No, anybody. We are yet to get there.
We have many.
We are yet to get there. We are yet to get there.
Musalia, okay.
Even in your own ODM, Jimmy Wanjege.
But why vote for somebody who is in a party? Because the problem is that the parties are the ones that are imposing these rules. So why don't you just vote for an individual, an independent candidate?
Eric.
Yes.
Eric, I've heard you mention Musalia Mudavadi.
It is I who mentioned Musalia Mudavadi, Moha.
Who?
C.T. Muga.
Oh, Muga. Oh, okay. You now Mudavadi is one of those people who've recently aired their views in terms of the rise in fuel prices.
And that.
Basically, what I was seeing evolving right in front of my eyes is what is referred to as create a problem, then sell the solution. Because if we remember correctly, 2018, the whole NASA brigade was whipped into supporting the fuel tax, or the tax on fuel.
Yep.
Am I right or wrong?
That's true.
Now they're here pretending that now that was a problem. The cost of the rise in cost of fuel is a problem, and now that should be reduced. Not knowing very well that they're the ones who whipped their members into supporting the government position, where we ended up with fuel on tax. No, tax on fuel. Sorry.
Mo, I'd like to ask you a question, if I may. Yeah?
Okay.
Have you ever seen or heard any Kenyan politician taking responsibility for a decision they have made, especially one which is adverse?
No.
Okay. So why do you expect them that going forward, even if they have higher positions of authority or they seek higher offices, what makes you think they're then going to take responsibility?
At no point am I deluding myself that will happen.
Yes.
Exactly, because that's their nature.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to delude myself.
So why are we giving them so much power? Why are we giving them so much power when we are the employers?
But Jackie, why do you think we keep giving them power? Because it is true. We do give them power.
We allow it. We allow this cycle of being ripped off, and then we elect. The next
why? Why do you think we do this?
Because we have never made a very deliberate and clear message that we are coming for you as an individual. Because you stole as an individual, whether the system gave you the leeway or whatever. We allow it to slide. We allow it as Kenyans. Mdu the other day talked about Nigerians going one day, everybody on the street. Have you ever heard of that in Kenya? Oh, we are so busy. We are so comfortable. We are so comfortable. We are so comfortable. You know, we just...
Or it hasn't gotten quite bad enough yet. Could that be also it, Jackie?
You know, that's our nature. That's our nature. We just let it slide. And everybody knows. You come, you allow foreigners to come and do whatever they want to do, we let it slide. Nothing is ever. If we were to do something that was to send a clear message that imagine we are coming for you as you,
individually,
not as your party, because party is on the side. That will send a message even to the future politicians. We're just too easy. Too easy.
Makes sense. Moha, does that make sense?
To a point, it does. But again, basically, she's leaning towards corruption more. And most of these parties, they protect their own, even the corrupt individuals.
I'm actually leaning towards the politicians towards Kenyans taking back their power, their constitutional power to manage what goes on with them, with their lives. These politicians are supposed to represent us. It's not the other way around.
So even when things are happening, even if it's at a political party level, the political party should feel that it's accountable to the voter. Right now, a political party feels that it's accountable to its owner, who is an individual.
Exactly.
And not the voter.
Exactly.
And that's where the problem is.
Creating political parties all over the place.
Yeah.
Because they know they'll have the power to dictate what is done by their MPs. They know that if they don't have numbers, they will be bribed to join another party and make it stronger. You know, in Europe, I saw somewhere, I can't remember where they put their corrupt MPs in dustbin. I'm not saying we should do that.
And why not?
That's a clear message. That was a very clear message.
You've said it out loud. CT is going to grab onto that one real quick.
People.
Jackie, thank you.
And, guys,
yes,
let me point out something to you. Have you guys realized that these political parties and whether the youth arm that they have, it doesn't have a structure, number one. Number two, if it has a structure, every time they come out to give press conference, the youth arm of a particular party, it's basically a brief that was read it was read to them behind the closed doors.
Yeah, by a non-youth.
So basically, when they're actually doing the press conference, they open their mouth, but the voice that comes out is that of the party leader.
Let me ask you, Moha.
Yeah.
How active are you as a member of ODM? You say you support ODM. Are you a registered member of ODM?
Not a registered member.
Paid up member?
Life member?
I've done a couple of contributions to some of their campaigns and so forth. But as of right now, I'm kind of losing faith with the idea of I belong to a certain party.
Okay.
I'm switching more to the side of I like your views and I like the way you work. I don't care which party you come from. But as of right now, we are on the same road, heading the same direction. So I think we're good. We're game. As of right now, tomorrow morning, if I wake up and you're messing up,
You'll
give you the
switch
boot.
to someone
No,
else.
I give you the boot.
Right. Let's bring in another caller.
I'll keep plowing down that road. But if you're going down the same road, then good. If you divert, I give you the boot. Because I've tried this
party route,
complete loyalty and what have you. It doesn't work.
You're
At the end of the day, your views are they don't even register anywhere. It is the party leader that comes first. So I'm not doing that anymore. I'm done. I've had it. I've had enough of that.
Right.
I've seen my folks go through the same thing, and it's madness. I can't continue down the same road.
Yeah, things have got to change. Let's bring in another caller on the line as well. Doreen in Mombasa. Good morning.
Good morning to you guys. How are you?
Very well.
There's something you always bring up. It is stolen in the grinder. A guy said that thing.
Suleiman Shabal.
Yeah. So what I came to realize in Kenya, we don't vote. What we do is only what we call protocol. We go line up and we do the thing. But actually, the guys up there They are the ones who decide who becomes who, where, and when.
How did you get to this realization?
Because most of the time we choose a leader and he doesn't fulfill whatever promises he gave us. So the next time we all go with the mentality of now we want someone new. You go vote and the same person comes back. So you're like, everyone was like, no, but we voted out. So majority of people voted the guy out, but unfortunately the guy comes back in. How does he come back in? It's not because we are stupid like the way they think we are, that we don't know what we do. We are not the ones who choose the corrupt people back there who've come stolen our money, our hospitals, our roads, our schools. How can we vote them back in? We don't vote. What we do is we just do the protocol of we wake up in the morning, go line up, we do the thing. But up there, they're the ones who sit and decide who becomes a leader.
How can we get our power back?
Only God can help us. He takes them all. They all die, then we choose new people. Because that is the only thing we can do. We cannot have change where we vote the same people back in. They can never be changed. Change can never be there. Because once these people are controlled by their parties, somebody will do anything for the party. So if the party leader says no, they all say no, even if they know that they're supposed to say yes. Or even if one person stands and says yes, and the majority says no. Like you see, our parliament is a joke. There was that time, I don't know what bill they wanted to pass. The nays were many and the ayes had it. And the speaker ran out, that woman ran out immediately. What joke is that? They are the ones who are making the laws. Do you think they'll make a law that is going to condemn them for what they are doing because they are all corrupt? No one is clean. None of them is clean. That's why nobody can point. The committees, Abdul Samad and the committee will sit down, call this person, call this one, question them. But at the end of the day, what do? Nothing.
You sound
Nothing
so powerless
happens.
and helpless.
My brother, we are powerless. Kenyans, there's nothing we can do. Actually, there's nothing we can do.
Is there really
Because
not?
Actually, that's
you're
actually not right there. There's a lot we can do.
What can we do, City?
What can we do? You arrest somebody. Somebody is being arrested for the case of corruption. It takes 10 years in court. One day you hear they go, the file is not there. I don't know what is missing. It's taken this, there was no proper evidence to prosecute somebody. Somebody steals billions and is given a fine of 3.6 million. Seriously. From whatever he just does a drop in the ocean. He pays it and goes home. And do we get our money back?
Nope.
As Kenyans, is the money he stole? Does he bring it back?
If you listen to what a previous caller called Moha was saying, Moha has done something. He has moved from what you'd refer to as a herd mentality, and he has decided, I am going to think for myself, and this is what I am going to do. You see,
we all do the same thing.
Actually,
like,
no, we don't. Most people
else.
actually go with what everybody else is doing. Like feeling that we can't do anything. It's a general feeling that everybody has. Feeling that these people are corrupt and they'll always do the same thing. It's the same feeling that everybody has. But when you ask the question, are you willing to stand up and ask your MP or find out where your MP is or your council or your MCA and ask, one MCA, what about this and this? Somebody says, no, but the point is, none of us is willing to actually stand out and be counted as we say. We'd rather quietly comply and go with what everybody else is doing. And the only way we feel that we are doing something is to protest.
No, we are doing something. Let me tell you the example of my MCA.
All right.
We chose him, Mr. Ali Sharif. We wanted change. We brought him in. We all voted him anonymously. Everybody was like, Ali is the new thing. We call him Ali Kipenzi here in Mombasa.
Hey.
The first thing he did, he changed the office. The office was in Tononoka ground. He changed the office near Abdul Samad's place. Where Abdul Samad's office is, the MP's office is. That's what number one, he's running away from. You call him, he doesn't pick the phone. You ask him a question on WhatsApp or anything, because when they want to vote, they come door to door.
Yeah.
Yeah, they come door to door, they give you the number. You talk with him. I talked with him personally. He came to my doorstep. We talked to him. I told him I don't want money or anything. What are you going to do to our youth? We had Mogoka, which was being brought into Tononoka ground. It was spoiling. Every woman, most of the women became single mothers. They left their husbands to do that business because it was a depot around Tononoka ground. So he said, we'll do something about it. So it became, small young boys, primary going school boys, started taking Mogoka. So I told him this thing it's like a drug now to our society. It's spoiling our kids. What are you going to do? I'll do something. What else are you going to do for? I'll make sure there's the space around the ground. I'll ask for a dispensary. We'll just make a small place for at least people to have a small place, like a dispensary somewhere people can go to. Do we see him? You don't. You ask him, you meet him, you ask him, you said you'll do this and this and this. What have you done? I'm working on it.
How many of you ask him this question that you're asking? Is it a group of people or is it just you?
No, I personally have asked.
Do you know whether the other constituents in that
asking.
ward are also asking the same?
Well, I don't know, but I hope
You're
someone
playing your
somewhere,
part.
like Moha did at his place. I'm doing at mine. I'm sure
playing your
there's
part.
somebody who does.
Yeah.
Like the place where I'm married to, I usually ask them. I talk to the people around when you go to the market center.
Yeah.
I tell the men because most of them who vote are men. But I came to realize that most people who make a lot of noise, they don't even have a national identity card. So how do you vote? How do you vote? Imagine you're sitting in a group of like 20 people, but only 5 have IDs.
Only 5 are voters.
So those are only 5 votes. Yeah. So it doesn't matter the multitude of people you see following those people around and screaming and what. Only like a third of that crowd has IDs and voters' cards. They are the ones that are going to vote.
So
Two-thirds
people are not
just
really involved in
makers.
the process.
We are not.
And those that are involved in the process,
And that's
Doreen,
why
like
it is stolen in the
Moha.
granary because the ones who they take our names. You know, there's this thing like you're being told so and so is coming. You want wamama mjikusanye, wababa mjikusanye. So you give out your names and your ID numbers. That's the game around. They take your names, they take your ID numbers, they go vote. And that's how they vote. And that's why you're told by Shabbat it's stolen in the granary because you've already given your name and your ID number. So they go to the system, they know.
Doreen, I hear your frustration.
Again,
I can hear the frustration that Doreen has. The
It's
frustration that Doreen is expressing.
Because, a population of 10,000 and you have votes of 15,000, a person gets a vote 15,000 voters. How?
And
the population when we were tallied, we were only 10.
Good questions. Thank you very much, Doreen. I think, you know what I'm saying? I'm hearing what she's saying. Because the message that Doreen is giving here, she's one of the few who are active.
She is active.
She's active. She's engaged with the candidate. She said, I do not want your money. These are the issues. These are the problems that I see in our community. How are you going to address them? The guy comes up with a blueprint.
Here it is.
Oh, come on. The issue of Mogoka and the youth and women. Okay, we'll do that. The issue of healthcare, accessible healthcare. We'll come up with a dispensary. This and this and the other. And then the person goes and her attempt to hold him accountable is not bearing fruit. What you're hearing Doreen saying is what we heard Boniface Mwangi telling us the other day. Getting to a point where you feel it's like you're carrying the load of the entire ward on your shoulders, trying to do something, and yet you're the only one who's doing it. And that's where she feels, we don't even elect these people.
Yeah, we don't elect them. It's already done.
My vote doesn't count. My voice is going nowhere. She's frustrated.
You know what is strange? Some of these people that are voted in, who are rather voted in, you know, when they speak and when they are vying for those seats, you know, they represent, or at least they talk as though they represent the same values as you.
Yeah.
And you feel, at last, this person understands what we're really going through. Then you vote them in, and there's this surprise. Now, there's something that occurs to me as I think about this. It isn't as though every politician that we've ever had in this country or the politicians we currently have can be referred to as corrupt, hopeless, useless people who have no interest in the people. I actually think they do. But then, when you operate in an environment where impunity is king, the lure of impunity and the pull is stronger than the lure and the pull for actually providing service to your people.
Yeah.
Because somebody comes in with intention, you know, this person actually has good intentions. We actually know them. We've seen what they've done before. Then they get into a position of power and authority and suddenly they are lost. So what pulls them away? What is it that suddenly makes them change? Because this story is not a new one. There are many people who have voted in because they actually have an excellent track record.
And they mean well.
And people know they mean well.
And they want to do something. And actually, even you talk to some of them, they'll tell you, you get in there and you realize you're a lone voice.
Yes.
Number one, you're a backbencher. You are a low-ranking member of this parliament. So you'd only get about, in a session, you're going to get 5 minutes to speak.
Maximum.
Cumulatively. All right? So you are a lone voice.
So
you want to raise these issues about your constituents. You want to raise the issues that you think this is the direction we should be taking. You don't get to put your voice in. So how do you get your voice in? Same thing that Ken Okoth, the late Ken Okoth, said. You realize you want to play. For you to score, you've got to be on the pitch.
Yes.
For you to score, you've got to be on the pitch.
And then you've got to be in that team.
You've got to be in the team. You have got to align yourself with the captain and the coach so they can allow you to be on the pitch, knowing full well what you want to do.
Yes. Otherwise,
you're not going to be here.
So, I mean, it's clear that the strength without is greater than the strength within, right? So even if you have this resolve, you said it, the people outside, as you said, can hear and they can see this is a good man or woman and they're going to go in there and make a change. But when you get in there, the strength around you is much stronger than that which you have inside you.
You know the rule of law as we know it in this country and how it is practiced plays an important role. And this now comes to what I may refer to as the national ethos. In the developed countries, the rule of the party is even stronger than ours. Party positions, they are powerful.
Yeah.
But they have a fundamental difference. They have systems which actually work, and the citizenry know they can rely on the systems to work.
And the party knows that it's answerable to its members. It starts from there.
And they also know that they're answerable to the laws of the country. They know. But we are in a country where it's the complete opposite. Leadership and positions of authority means that you are not answerable to any authority or power or law.
You become a law.
You're a law, and you're above all these things.
Yeah. Victor in Nairobi, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
How are you?
Good morning.
Yeah, good. Yeah, wonderful conversation. I would like to say that I like the idea or the thoughts by the other lady, Jackie. Yeah.
Yep.
Countering Moha's scheme of thought. One thing I'd like to say is that this country lacks what I would like give it an acronym TAP. If Kalembe Ndile were alive, maybe. This is transparency, accountability, and public participation. Yeah. Now, you guys are doing an amazing job giving a platform for public participation. What's actually now lacking is the transparency from our leaders and accountability. But more citizens need to go beyond and hold these leaders accountable. For instance, we need to have some kind of midterm reviews of how our leaders perform, and actually either ejecting them from these positions of power and even having them return some of the wealth that they have accumulated over the period that they were in positions of influence and not doing close to either 40 or 50% of what they promised. Now, in the case of fuel increase, I think we all know by now that the cost of our fuel is actually up by around, let's say, 40%. Most of it, the 40% is about mostly the taxes.
Yeah.
For a long time, the government has experimented with overtaxation, and we have seen people cry, the cost of living go up. How about now they experiment by eliminating some of these taxes for about a year or two, and let's see what happened, like what happened in 2020. I'm sure citizens will be happy. The economy will be rejuvenated. People will become more creative, because right now you can't be creative enough to do something beyond your small meager salary, So, yeah, we need to eject some of these leaders. We need to bring people together to participate in, building this nation.
Right.
If a leader is bad, we eject him, not by voting another bad leader, no, but we eject him and have him return some of the wealth, around 20 or 30% of what
we've paid him.
And yeah, what we paid him for the past 5 years. You've been in parliament for 5 years, nothing has been done, and you're
So we
you're
basically
wealthier
put
than-
his salary in escrow somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Salary in escrow. So 5 years, we check.
We
If you have
confirm
not,
whether you receive it.
or not. If you have not done 40% of what you promised, well, we give them a 40%. 40% is not so bad because we know they don't do so much. So if you have not achieved 40% target, then we take 40%
Use it for
off.
something else.
Yes, we
Interesting,
build a hospital in Siaya County or in Nyalugunga or in Muranga or whichever place.
It's radical
Yeah.
but interesting. Actually, we'll bring that up one day.
Yes, so you think about it and have people talk about it.
Thank you, Victor.
That lady, I would have really loved to talk to her. I think she's
Jackie?
one champion. I would like to, Jackie.
All right.
I don't know how I can be linked with her. I think these are people I want to work with, and let's see what we can do for this country.
Let's do this.
it's gonna
Let's do
be
it this way.
difficult.
So we are
Yes.
going to give her your number.
Yes,
I'm
please.
sure she's listening in, and then she'll get in touch with you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Asante.
much.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Bye.
Midterm review one. You know, we already have a midterm review in the Constitution, but but we bastardized it. That thing of a recall clause.
Right.
You can recall.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
The process of recalling.
It's making sure that that recall clause actually makes sense. Yeah, is one.
And how you're going to start to go about it.
Yep.
Who will champion the cause?
Somebody who knows that there's a recall clause that can actually be operationalized will behave very differently.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Going
When you
in
know that
knowing that
there's
somebody could-
periodic reviews, that's what
You're gonna do your
HR
job.
professionals have done.
Yes.
They've introduced
You're
that.
going to do your job. Appraisals. You'll
Appraisals.
do your job.
Because there are basic questions you'll be asked.
Or if you don't do your job, you'll...
And that's where that social contract comes
from.
Because we know what we're reviewing.
There's a base.
And it's something that you said, not we, it's something that you...
We agreed.
Yes.
You
so now,
said.
and we said, okay.
And then we signed.
Yes.
These are your KPIs.
Yes.
All right. So we shall be reviewing.
It's okay.
Here we are. Tell us, where are we with this?
Bas. That's an interesting one. I like what Victor said. We shall bring it up one day as a substantive debate. Thank you very much for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation today. The day's proverb, City.
All those, literally, who pray to God, they are the same. That's really what it is. They are the same.
All those
who pray. Depend.
Who
was
depend
but,
on
but
God.
I'm the one who said to pray. They depend. They're the same.
All equal.
Yes. When somebody said, I remember the lady, was it Maureen, who said, you know, this one, it's only God who can help us.
That means it's going to that equalizer.
Oddly enough, even the people we're talking about, who are giving us this horrible,
They
terrible
all
service,
tell us it's
they
God.
also depend on God.
Please.
Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation today. Join us again tomorrow morning. Ndu Oko, City Muga, and Eric Latif wishing you a lovely day. Now until 11 you have music, and then you have Sugar and Spice. That's Yolanda and DJ Absolute coming in from 11 up to 2 p.m. And then Edward Quach will take you home on Spice Drive from 3 p.m. to 7 o'clock. Good morning. It's 10 a.m.